right, what is up, YouTube? Got William King here with deathscythe.eng. Today, I actually want to do an overview and sort of a review of all the different parts and mods that I've put on my Supra. Just going over each one, what it's been like living with them, and are there any performance gains, any quirks or features or anything that people should be aware of before purchasing, and just going over from sort of a layman's perspective of what these parts do and basically how good they work. So stay tuned, and as always, like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications for new videos, and let's get into it. So underneath the hood, we actually got a couple different mods going on here. First mod that I actually did was, it's kind of hard to see, but I did the Titan Motorsports Downpipe, and then using MHD tune with given to me by Wedge Performance. Getting close to, well, I should say over 450 horsepower. The problem is I have not dynoed it yet, so not certain on those numbers. Don't quote me on it, but I am looking at getting it dynoed here pretty soon, so at that time I'll actually get you guys actual numbers. But yeah, that the downpipe went in pretty easily. Honestly, definitely recommend if you are going to do the downpipe, it's going to be much easier if you can get it up on a lift, so you can get up underneath there and put that in. Now, one of the things that I did run into is originally I actually ran a little mini cat on the sensors to try and trick the ECU into thinking that there was still a cat in the downpipe. That didn't work at all. That just kept tripping the ECU, kept getting a check engine light. I do not recommend doing that. I actually had to pull the mini cats when I did finally get the tune on the car. So yeah, so definitely the mini cat, not necessary if you're going to go with a catless downpipe. Just put the downpipe in and just go with the tune, and then the ECU will get fixed. You won't get the check engine light. So another mod that I did early on in the channel here was the Cusco strut brace. Fit and finish, absolutely gorgeous. Just superb on it. Super easy to install. A lot of people ask, do I feel a difference with the strut brace? And the answer is absolutely do not. Really cannot tell a difference at all. Your average driver is not going to notice any difference with the strut brace. It's it's not really, unless you were going super crazy in the turns and the twisties before you put the strut brace on, you're not going to notice a difference between the stock performance and without it and with the strut brace. And the new 2021s are coming pre-installed with strut brace, so performance-wise, not much of a gain. Does it do something? I'm sure it does. I'm sure that whenever I hit it real hard in the corners, that it is helping the performance a little bit. Am I going to notice it? Not really. Is it worth the price that I paid? Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. It was easy to install. Probably worth the price I paid. The next item, and this is a new one actually, is the Eventuri carbon fiber intake. Now, right off the bat, let me tell you, it is gorgeous. It is super pretty. That carbon fiber intake is just superb. That box is so pretty, and then it's got the carbon fiber pipe going down to the turbo. So pretty. Installation wise, it was a little tricky installing it the first time because I was installing it on a hot motor. Definitely do not recommend that. One of the hardest things to do when swapping out your intake, doesn't matter if it's Eventuri or whatever, is right down here, this vacuum tube, squeezing this clamp and getting this vacuum tube off. Probably the most difficult thing, especially with a hot engine. There's just enough room for you to burn your finger on that engine. Everything else, mass flow sensor, all the other clamps and stuff, they come out really easy. Getting the Eventuri in the engine bay was a little bit interesting. It only really fits one way, and it only can go in one way, and it's sort of like trying to figure out how to get it to actually line up and go in there. Was a little bit difficult. Something you can't really see that well is, let's see if I can rotate the camera and get you down there. Is the Eventuri does come with the gold foil heat shielding, which actually works really, really well in keeping the heat out of the intake and keeping that intake cold. It also has a, not only does it have the standard intake, which fits right up with the stock duct work, there's another duct that goes down between the frame and the fender to suck up air from the wheel well as well. It's got a standard cone filter. Now, one of the issues with the Eventuri is the only way to clean the filter is to take the whole thing out, and which can be a pain in the butt. So just something to be aware of. Now, performance gains with cold air intake. I honestly can't tell you the difference. We're talking maybe 5-10 horsepower difference by adding in that intake versus the stock. The stock intake with the HKS mass flow filter, didn't really notice a major difference when upgrading to that. Style-wise, absolutely gorgeous. Performance-wise, yeah, you're going to get an increase, but with the price point of the Eventuris, I believe they're $1,400, they are not cheap. And there are much cheaper options on the market right now, and there's new options coming out soon. I would probably recommend going with one of those. Yes, you should get a cold air intake for the car. You will get a performance increase. Does it need to be the Eventuri? Not necessarily. Do you want it because it's pretty? Okay, yeah, you can get it because it's pretty. And carbon fiber engine cover. They're pricey. They're pretty. I lucked out. I got all of those parts as a package. Yeah, I mean, if you want to spruce up your engine a little bit, sure, get the carbon fiber engine cover. Obviously, it's not going to have any performance gains. It weighs the same as the stock one. There's no difference there. All right, moving around to the back of the car, I have the Rexpeed carbon fiber spoiler. This is a TRD spoiler knockoff. And in my previous video, I showed you how easy it is to install, and it's just 3M taped onto the back of the car. There's no drilling, no other modifications required, which is actually a good thing, because you don't have to drill. If you ever do decide to swap this out for something else, like a giant wing or something, you can do that. You can just easily remove it without having modified the metal in any way on the trunk. The 3M tape is holding up great. This thing is been on here for a while, and it is solid. It is not moving at all. I did run it through a wash cycle at a car wash, no issues. Now, I normally hand wash it, so I don't do that very often, but I did want to try it out and see if there was any issues, and I had no problems whatsoever. A couple things on the Rexpeed is that the fit and finish on it is leaves a little bit to be desired. So there are some issues in the carbon weave. There are some imperfections. Not really a big deal there, but one of my biggest issues is, you can kind of see right here, is the clear. The resin is actually getting a little cloudy, getting a little chalky right here, and a little bit over here. Not so much to where the average person would notice it, but I'm starting to notice it. Now, my car is garage kept. The Arizona sun tends to be pretty rough on parts, but it's not actually in the Arizona sun all the time. It's usually in the garage. So the fact that it's getting a little chalky here, it's kind of disappointing, but not to be too unexpected. The nice thing is it's a pretty easy fix. Sand it down, buff it, re-clear it. For the price that I paid for this thing, not really a big deal. This is like I said, this is a direct copy of the TRD carbon fiber spoiler, and the TRD carbon fiber spoiler is $2,500. and that actually bolts onto the car, so you can't just, you know, remove it because you've permanently modified the car. And they are identical. Now the TRD one, its finish is a little bit better, but for this was $420 and the TRD one was $2,500. I would go with this one all day, every day, even with the clear coat fading a little bit. All I'm gonna have to do is just, you know, at some point I'll buff it and re-clear it, and even that will be cheaper than the TRD spoiler. All right, so my last external item on the car is actually these Titan TS5 wheels and the Nito NT 555 tires. So I went with the offset, or the staggered set Titan TS5s. So they are 9.5 in the front and 11 in the rear, and these things are so insanely wide. Let's see if I can get down here so you can just see how wide those tires are now, which really adds to the grip. These things are super sticky now. The stock tires were okay. They were good. Definitely had some longevity to them, but one of the issues that I had at the track is I could just never get them hot enough to where they would actually stick to the track, and I was always spinning tires and losing time because of it. So these should hook much better. Now, I haven't actually had a chance to take these to the track yet. These are brand new. I literally just put these on the car a couple months ago, so I haven't really had a chance to do that. But just the look of these wheels, so much cleaner, so much prettier than the stock wheels. And as an added bonus, the Titans, you can use the stock lug bolts, and you can actually use the stock center caps. So you do not need to buy the Titan center caps. Save yourself some money there, and you do not need to buy new lug bolts. They fit just fine, which is actually really nice. I know a lot of people have issues when they swap out their wheels, or they can't actually use the stock bolts. Now I did, because these are wider than the stock wheels, did have to buy new tires. That did make it a little bit more expensive, but wheels and tires are one of the best performance upgrades you can do for your car, and I do really love them. All right, and just as an added little bonus inside the car, I actually did get a carbon fiber steering wheel. It is functionally, it's a steering wheel. Stock steering wheel worked just fine. Did not need a new one. But as for aesthetics, oh, it is super pretty. That nice carbon fiber. You got the Alcantara, and because my car is the base model, my car actually has the Alcantara seats. So this actually matches really well. I got the silver center stripe, so the match silver on the car, which is really nice. Now, one little thing, these steering wheels, they are hand built, they are hand painted, and for some reason, my center line is not center, which, yeah, that's gonna be annoying for me, but most people won't notice. But yeah, it is sad. It is disappointing, especially with the price on these things. They're $800 for these steering wheels, and you do have to give them your core steering wheel. It's more expensive if you don't. So I did have to give them my stock steering wheel to do that. Installation, pretty simple. I would recommend watching some videos on how to do it. I sadly did not create a video for this, but the installation is pretty straightforward on it. Another thing that I did swap out at the exact same time is I did get the upgraded carbon fiber paddle shifters for the car. So these guys are much bigger. They go a lot farther down, and so you have a much larger grip area. So as you're going around the twisties, going around the corners, it's much easier to get to shift. You have a much area versus the stock ones, which are only like right in this area right here, but you can go all the way up here and go down to here. So it's much easier to reach and grip them. And the feel on them is just fantastic. They feel so much nicer than the stock ones, and you know, the fit and finish, they look super pretty. So yeah. All right, so that was an overview of some of the parts and mods that I've done to my car, and hopefully those reviews will help any of you out there making any decisions on any parts that you're trying to purchase for your vehicle. So overall, I'm super happy with everything that I've done with the car. Some of the things, yeah, I'd probably do a little bit differently, such as the Eventuri intake. Don't necessarily think it's worth the money. It is a great intake. It is a great intake, but you can get good intakes for less. It is pretty, and you know, I am trying to make a statement with my car, so pretty is good. But for your average person who's just wanting to, you know, have a nice high performance vehicle, you don't really need it. But other than that, like, yeah, I really love the vehicle. It is a blast to drive. I'm having a great time with it. So yeah, I hope that was useful for you. And as always, I hope you all have an awesome day. And I'm out. God damn it, hot. So freaking hot in Arizona. Ugh.